Hey, good evening, guys. I just wanted to come on and say a couple of words. So I'm going to be doing extended election coverage starting tomorrow, and then I'm not sure when it's going to end because we may not know the ultimate winner of the presidential election for some time. But there's a couple of words of caution. I know that we have been bombarded with all of these messages of make a plan to vote. And a lot of you have already voted, which I think is fantastic. But there also needs to be a specific plan for Election Day, even if you have already voted. While I have not received or been made aware of any specific threats, there will be trouble in different parts of the country on Election Day. And I want people to be aware that that could be the possibility. No, it's not a certainty. But when I saw the video of the Trump supporters surrounding a Joe Biden the bus in Texas, and then the other troubling thing about that is Donald Trump showered those individuals with praise, and that was an act of terrorism against campaign workers for a man who was running for president who was also protected by the Secret Service, meaning that whatever that stunt was to try and intimidate people in that Biden tour bus, whatever that was an act of terrorism, and the polls have not even opened yet. So be extra vigilant and also have a plan for Election Day. And I say that because there are a number of you who are very concerned about the outcome of this election, and I am one of those people that shares in your concern. And because of the concern and because of the anxiety and because of the possibility or the likelihood of trouble, I don't want any of you to be defenders of the election or polling places outside of your own neighborhood. And I'm going to say that a lot over the next couple of days. Don't be a Kyle Rittenhouse. We know that there's going to potentially be some irregularities, some trouble, some things that we won't be able to explain, some things that our local media here is not going to cover. But I don't want any of you thinking that you need to go to someone else's polling place in another neighborhood to try and protect other people's rights to vote. Unless someone requests you to come and help and assist. Don't do that, because the last thing we need is people who can't, stay in one place on Election Day and they're going to go to other places and try and defend other voters. Don't do that. Stay in your own neighborhood on Election Day. And I'm very, very serious about that. And I wasn't going to jump on tonight and say anything. I was just going to have this conversation tomorrow morning. But I want folks to have that plan as well for Election Day. Unless you're going to just do some observing. But don't, people have guns and we know that. And some of you are very quick to admit on social media that you have concealed carry. And by the way, it's not concealed carry anymore if you put up a Facebook post telling everybody about your guns. We don't need any of that. We're going to have enough problems as it is. And yes, Justin, it is past my bedtime. So I'm trying something different with the broadcast. I'm using a program that allows me to broadcast to Facebook and on YouTube at the same time. And so I also wanted to test this out because I have every intention of having conversations with you all for the next couple of days. I don't know if I'm going to do an all-day broadcast on Tuesday, but I will do the regular morning program, the Forum Live, and you can watch it on the same platforms that you have. You'll also be able to watch this on Twitter if you go to my Twitter account, which is at Sherwin again. So if you're trading tweets with your favorite Trump supporter, you'll be able to catch the broadcast live on Twitter. You'll also be able to comment in real time on Facebook, on Twitter, and I actually can see the comments in this program that I'm using. So far, so good. Seems to be working out. So what I am going to do on Monday is I'm going to have my regular normal 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. broadcast, which will probably go a little bit past 10 a.m. But then on Tuesday, I'm going to do the same thing. But then I will come back in the afternoon and update individuals because I've got a lot of help. A lot of great people are helping me. Thank you guys so much that are going to travel to different polling locations and just observe what is going on for the purposes of if you have yet to vote and you're going to vote on Election Day. And if there are long lines or if there are cops that are writing tickets because people are parking in no parking zones and towing cars away, because that happens every presidential election. People park in 15-minute parking. The lines are longer than they had anticipated, and the cops tow their vehicles. By the time they come out from voting, they don't have a car there. So those things are going to happen on Tuesday. We've got a rapid response team that's going to be out there just to let folks know if that's the case. Also, expect some ballot machines to not function. Expect some of them to possibly not work. And if that's the case, we're going to make sure that we let folks know that you should expect an extraordinarily long wait time if you're going to particular polling places in the city. On tomorrow's program, we are going to have a conversation with Stephanie Finley, who is the chairwoman of the City of Milwaukee Elections Commission, and get her last minute details about what she believes that voters need to do in this city as we head into Tuesday. Bottom line, I just want people to be safe, and I don't want any of you to play the hero and think that you have to go out and defend somebody else's polling place in another neighborhood. Unless you are specifically requested, don't do that. In the city of Milwaukee, and I cannot speak for all the other places in which people may be viewing this broadcast, in the city of Milwaukee, neighborhoods know how to take care of themselves. If there is trouble, if there's some protesters or counter protesters at a particular polling place, and there probably will be, I can't tell you where, but I have this sneaking suspicion that we're going to have some issues on election day. Don't get in your car and think you need to go and participate in whatever else is going on. Election day is going to be tough enough, but also think about the volunteers and think about the election workers, because they're going to have to shoulder some of that danger as well. And they're out here in a pandemic making sure that everyone has the right to vote. And if there are people that seek to sow chaos, don't participate in it. Please don't. Because I see what Donald Trump is egging his supporters on to do. I do not suspect in our neighborhoods and our communities on the north side of the city of Milwaukee, they won't come here. They won't. That's almost a virtual certainty that they won't be here, but they may be in other parts of the city. Do not make things worse. Tyrone Bates says, salutes riots in Brooklyn. I see in North Carolina, the powers pepper sprayed innocent protesters. They didn't do that with people who was looting in Brooklyn. This is scripted. Can't trust the enemy. Tanner, thank you as well for you helping out on election day. James Alvin, well, apparently he just says hello. Justin says, yep, we're going to have MPD at Central Count all day and all night. So the other thing is, it's going to take an extraordinarily long time to count all of these ballots. And hopefully when we speak with Stephanie Finley tomorrow morning, because there is a process in which they cannot start processing and opening ballots until, I believe, 7 p.m. on election night. So an hour before the polls close, they can begin to start processing the ballots. That's going to take a really long time. And the other thing is, it really paid off telling people to vote by mail or to vote absentee in person. But with that comes the processing of all of those ballots that are still sitting somewhere in their original envelopes. They have to be unsealed, they have to be processed, and then some of those ballots are going to need some additional inspection because voter intent may not be determined by whatever people are putting on those ballots. And so all of that is going to take a lot of time. And as the polls close, anxieties are going to go up, because I can understand you wanting to know immediately who the winner of the election is. But I think that is where the possibility of danger is going to be the highest, when people are just sitting around in limbo and, those idle hands. I put a post up earlier saying that Donald Trump is going to lose the state of Pennsylvania. I didn't mean for it to cause the firestorm that it did. He can lose, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris can lose the state of Pennsylvania and probably have 25 or 30 other mathematical possibilities of getting to 270 electoral votes. And the reason why I say that Pennsylvania is probably in the L column for the Biden-Harris ticket is because of the battleground states that are vital to the presidency. Pennsylvania is one of them. You guys have been hearing it for 4 years. It was Detroit, Michigan, it was Milwaukee, Wisconsin, it was Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The lion's share of people that have voted early are overwhelmingly breaking for Democrats. Those are Biden-Harris voters that have voted early. Of the battleground states, Pennsylvania has the lowest share of voters, lowest proportion, lowest ratio of voters that have voted early. There's a large number of people that still have yet to vote on election day. There's something like 6.5, 6.6 million voters in the state of Pennsylvania. Only 2.3 million of them have voted early, meaning that there's 4+ million people that are going to vote on election day. I have a feeling that the majority, at least 51%, if not more, of the people that have not yet voted in the state of Pennsylvania are going to vote for Trump. Now, here's the other thing. The combination of states between either Carolina, including that competitive U.S. Senate race in South Carolina, or Florida, or Georgia, or Texas. If the Biden-Harris ticket takes one of those states away, it is over. Here's the good thing about Florida, and I never thought I'd be saying, here's the good thing about Florida. Florida has already started processing their mail-in ballots. We will know vote totals in Florida before we go to bed, if we go to bed on Tuesday. Florida has already started processing those votes, and Florida is vital to the president's strategy. I'm feeling reasonably confident about Wisconsin. Joe Biden has polled consistently, and I'm not really one to trust the polls. In fact, the only polls that I trust are the ones that I do personally. But because the consistency in Wisconsin has been there, and also if we go back to 2016, which is something we probably shouldn't do because 2016 is totally different than this current election cycle. Thank you, Justin. 7 a.m. election morning, we start opening the mail-in ballots. Okay, good. So we have even more time to begin processing the ballots in Milwaukee. 23,000 votes is what Donald Trump won the state of Wisconsin by. On Monday, I will post whatever data is available. And if I don't have it, I'm going to try and get it from our chair of our election commission here, Stephanie Finley. The Midtown location, which is the highest performing early vote location in the state of Wisconsin. It's in the middle of an African-American neighborhood, and the turnout is exponentially higher than it was in 2016, meaning that there will be enough votes cast at Midtown, early votes cast at Midtown, that will surpass Donald Trump's win percentage in 2016. So more people have voted at Midtown than Donald Trump won by in 2016. And that is where I am putting my faith to carry the state of Wisconsin. So I'm reasonably comfortable with how we have voted. And today was the last day of in-person absentee voting. And so when those numbers are available, we'll have the grand total of how Midtown performed. The other thing is this, and I think this needs to be spoken directly to our elected leaders. There were at least a dozen, maybe more, early voting locations in the city of Milwaukee. Some of them had such poor performance that I would argue they don't need to be open in future elections. Because if they had single digit or 0 digit turnout or for any of the early vote days, the 2 weeks that we had in the state of Wisconsin, we don't need to waste the money staffing locations that people are not utilizing. And we need to make sure that Midtown and early vote locations like that are being more than utilized, they're overperforming every other part of the city. They need to have the resources to be open in every election. I don't care if it's state superintendent of public instruction. I don't care if it's county supervisor. I don't care if it's school board. That Midtown voting location is the cornerstone of democracy in this city. And so any elected leaders that are figuring out what to do with budgeting and how we allocate enough resources so we can have fair and productive elections, Midtown needs to be open for the maximum number of hours allowed by law, because it has proven time and time again to be the location that wins this entire state for Democrats. Ask Tony Evers. If it wasn't for the overperformance at Midtown during the midterm elections of 2018, Tony Evers would not be the governor of the state of Wisconsin. Okay, guys, I think that's about it. So I'll see you tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. We're going to do our regular broadcast. I'm going to hopefully have some additional numbers of what voter turnout was during our run of early voting here in the city of Milwaukee. And hang on tight, guys. This is going to be one hell of a ride. So thank you guys for listening. Looks like this new platform that I'm trying out is actually working. So thank God. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning.